2 or 3 receivers or something like, or ECCM in their mids, I'll be surprised.
All right, so not only a win, but maybe some mind games in the favor of Spooky. Let's check out the next draft here. We did chuck them straight into there. They only had like a 1 or 2 minute break, so seeing if we can make them maybe make some mental mistakes. Gerald, let's see it. All right, so Blue, will you take us down through V0LTA's draft here?
Yeah, so V0LTA have maybe listened to me, or they knew this already, and they haven't done any of the big power bans like Bargon and SNI themselves. They banned Hyperion, Golem, Barghest, so some pretty powerful battleships there, and they've chosen a Purifier, Sleipnir, Eagle, Vagabond, and Moa. So they've gone for very mobile kind of hacks, and the Sleipnir being a very strong command ship, kind of potentially open to a rush team or even a ranged team, kind of depends which way they want to go. So they've got a lot of very fast, very mobile, tanky ships here, a lot of damage to small things, and obviously the added purifier for the why the hell not.
Yeah, and then Hoodie, take us through Spookies, please.
Yeah, Spooky is coming again with a sort of a similar setup. Like, it's very hard to see an archetype behind it. They're throwing really good ships together, and I think they've been putting a lot of work into how these drafts are going to be playing out. Worm coming in again, Magus coming in, Ishtar, incredibly strong drone boats, which again might threaten this purifier on the V0LTA team that was picked very early on. And I think very smartly, we're not seeing a logistics frigate for the last 15 points that Red had picked here from V0LTA side. And to rounding it off, they have a Typhoon Fleet issue and a Devoter, which is, there's a good amount of DPS there, there's a good amount of control there. I think they've got a flexible comp, piloting intensive, but I think this is a team that can handle that.
Yeah. Now, I just want to mention something we don't usually talk about is that was probably the fastest draft timer I have ever seen. Does that mean that these guys just know what they want and they're able to pivot quickly, or do you think both teams came in with a plan and didn't really get blocked and just straight went through it? Hoodie.
Yeah, I think, yeah, three things. Either they've got very good preparation, but even if you get interrupted with very good preparation, I think you're going to get a longer one. So in my opinion, there's only two things here. One, you went for a game plan and your opponent kind of let you do that, or two, you're slightly tilted maybe, and you're just picking stuff quicker.
Whatever has the most receivables available.
Yes.
Blue, talk us to through the bans here. The second round, I'm always really, after you see kind of the first 3 cores on each side, how you tried to ban to give yourself a good advantage here. So just talk us through both sides and kind of what they banned here and why.
So we can see from the first kind of 6 picks here that what Starfleet has gone for, the Purifier, Eagle, Sleipnir, they don't want to let the enemy team get very tanky drone boats, because their opening of Worm, Magus, Ishtar, these themselves open to exactly the same thing that just happened in the first match, which was they get a lot of drone swarms killing small stuff, very tanky kind of drone boats. The VNI gets rid of that. They found out they couldn't kill that in the last match as well, so clearly strong. And the Rattlesnake, that's just, again, fulfills the same role that the Vindicator did. Very high damage, extremely tanky, independent ship. 2 types of damage, drones and missiles. What the Spooky Action have gone for is essentially just try and crush any kind of fly killer that Starfleet could have gone for. So fly killer, as we all probably know, kind of a rapid light and artillery team, kind of a long range kiting team that can project a lot of damage that applies very well. And the Sleipnir Eagle opening clearly said we can potentially do this. So the Servant Orthrus kind of shut down that with the 2 strongest rapid light ships that are in the game at the moment. So they're very, very smart bans to try and shoehorn what's happened. But clearly, like as you kind of said with the clocks, this wasn't what both teams were going to go for anyway. I think both teams clearly had a plan of what they wanted to do and just managed to get it.
And Hoodie, any cheese you see coming out? There's no obvious Logi, no obvious ECM or control of any type, but what are you expecting from each side in kind of the cheese category or ECM?
I think V0LTA doesn't have too much room for cheese here. They can kind of like see whether they're going to play this in a range way or a rushy way, but I think their comp is very straightforward. It wants to do a very particular thing, and if flown well, I think it's very powerful in that particular role. And I think their matchup isn't that bad either. There's potential for cheesy things coming from the spooky action side. Again, they have more mids available. They have a setup that, to me, doesn't particularly look like any specific game plan. You could go multiple routes with it. So if there's going to be any cheese, and I think it's certainly going to be coming from spooky side.
Yeah, I'm really interested to see. I know Wild and Vortex sit there and they big brain the hell out of this stuff. So it's really, really cool to watch what they can come up with. We talked earlier about how try hard these teams are kind of being. There's Jose's Hoodie's team here. These two teams, I would call my team a little bit more try hard. But if you had to rank Hoodie the most try hard teams, would you put one of these two there, or is there somebody that you think tries a little harder?
It's hard to say because I pretty much only know exactly how much time my own team is putting in, but based on how these drafts are going and like some of the practice matches that are going on, and these are definitely teams that are going to be in the top 4, top 5, with how much they are hardcoring this.
Yeah. The devoter is kind of a new thing. We don't see Hicks very often here. They're kind of used in specific ways. Blue Melon, you want to talk to me a little bit about what you can do with a Hick?
Yeah, so I think before I start with the Hick thing, I think if we look at the points that were available to Spooky, they had 22 points in that last pick, and they could have gone for the healer. Sorry, the healer was banned, actually, they couldn't. So they could have gone for a heavy interdictor or any other pirate faction cruiser to get very efficient points there. And they've gone for this heavy interdictor, this Amar one. It's very, very, very tanky. It is very slow, but it has a high slot mod that stops micro warp drives from a very, very long range, which I think is a fantastic pick against what Starfleet and V0LTA here are trying to do. Because if I look at Starfleet's draft, it's shouting at me mobility. What they want to do is they want to run around really, really fast, get their kills really quickly, move across the map to the next one, and the Devoter will shut that down at least for one ship. If they make any error, get within 36, 37 kilometers off it, they're absolutely not moving. The Typhoon will be able to apply its damage, and it'll be game over for that. And the other thing that it does is it gives them a frontliner that can come in first. It's very tanky that V0LTA do not want to hit, sorry. And V0LTA, as they have 3 points left compared to Spooky Action who have 0, they have to do something. Otherwise, both teams can literally just sit still, look at each other, and Spooky will still win. So I really like that pick. It's kind of shoehorned V0LTA now into having to play around this big bubble of catch that they have.
All right. And then, Blue, kind of a question directed at you. We've just been notified that Starfleet had to bail. He had a real life emergency come up. So Annie is picking up the slack and is going to captain. How much of a wrench can that throw in when one of your leadership or decision makers just has to leave? And have you had any experience with this kind of thing happening?
Yes, I've had plenty of experience with this kind of thing happening. I think when I do it, or when I used to do it from when I was in PL Hydra or whatever else, we had plans in place where we'd make sure that everyone else who was in leadership was aware of what you had to do in that specific scenario. And I guess one of the best examples of when I had to leave was when I was in PL and a famous match where Dankle flew the Scorp Navy issue instead of me, and famously won the match against NC Dot when our two Sleipnir pilots decided to boundary, which was wonderful to watch from work. But I think for Starfleet it is going to be a big deal actually, because in such a short period of time, clearly Starfleet has drafted. He's got a plan in mind of what he wants to do with these specific kind of ships. And I mean, I haven't played for a while, but I'm not sure the Eagle and the Moa are particularly kind of A-tier ships in EVE at the moment. So I'm hoping Annie can kind of pick up what they've got. He's got a great tournament pedigree. He's a wonderful pilot, and hopefully they can pull it together.
Annie's been around for a long time, has he not? Wasn't he on the verge of collapse team that won maybe AT10, or was that somebody else that I'm thinking of?
I think that was Annie, and then he did pretty well.
Yeah, so very good. I think they're gonna probably do okay. Again, the big brains coming out of Spooky's team. I'm really, really interested to see what happens here. The Eagle is a super unpicked ship. Hoodie, talk to me about the Eagle and why do we see it not as picked as maybe a Munin or a Serb or something of that category?
I don't know, actually. It's a great ship. It's, of course, a ship that has a ton of tank and has reasonable range bonuses. So it's very good for a sniper-like fit, which might be a reason why we're seeing it here. So it can either deploy a lot of damage at a lot of range with its rails, or it's picked for its tank, in which case they're going to send it in with blasters. It probably just has a bit more raw DPS than some of the other choices that are available here. That's why they picked it.
All right, fair. Do you think this purifier is going to have any kind of mids, blue, that are control or ERA related, or is it you're going to go full tank and just maybe even polarized?
I think whatever mids this purifier chooses will be completely irrelevant because the worm and the Ishtar are going to kill it as quickly as the last one did, has died. But if I was in Starfleet's or Annie's position here, I would try and get some mids in, maybe get some guidance disrupting to keep the Typhoon's missiles down. As there's no real point disrupting the Devoter or the Ishtar worms drones. It also a lot will depend on how my team archetype is. If we're rushing in, then I might actually just tank up and try and survive as best I can. If we're kiting, then play the guidance disruption game.
Fair. I do want to take a quick moment and introduce somebody who's kind of been on the backgrounds and has kind of been here through day one through us in the 5v5 scrims. Amelia, how you doing?
Good. How's it going?
Oh, not too bad. We're watching kind of our friends kick each other's butts, and it's always fun. So I know you are among the big brain category, and you've said some things in our back channels about how this could be a little bit different archetype than what we're kind of expecting. Can you kind of allude to that a little bit and tell me what you're thinking about?
Yeah. So, in my experience and just some of the scrimmages that we've been doing in the past, there's been meta forming around very tanky T1 cruisers such as the Mauler or the MOA, who have their innate resistance bonuses, and being able to fit remote reps on them. So they're only 12-point ships compared to, I don't know, like 23 or 25 points for a Tech 1 logistic cruiser. So it's very cheap and efficient for having a very high amount of tank, and you can get a surprising amount of reps on them as well. So I could see this team on red, who has a few utility high slots between the Sleipnir, the Vaga, doing some tinker setup here and sitting around the MOA. They project very well with that Eagle, the Sleipnir, and the Artie Vaga is actually not that bad.
Artie Vega. Now, have we seen that ever done before, Amelia?
In Gorn, it has been quite the meme, but it has been done to some success.
It's actually a super fun ship. You don't really expect it, and then your interceptor just gets volleyed. And then you can throw shade at your court mates who think the AC one is just heads and tails better.
I think I see AP in the chat freaking out right now.
Is he? Oh no. No. Anybody who watches AP's YouTube channel, he's a very good YouTuber. Tries hard and does well for himself, but you just got to throw some shade at your friends every once in a while. So Amelia, if this is kind of a tinker, what are you primarying here right off the bat? If you're kind of not as mobile as everyone has talked about so far.
From the red team, you mean?
Yeah.
Well, I think you shoot what you can. That's really what it comes down to. So from this blue team, you don't really expect an R setup. People have done a few R Ishtars or R Devoters, but I could see this team being much more kitey and spreading out from the blue team. So really, you just want to hit whatever you can apply to, because all the damage is going to stick eventually. And if you're going to win with this tinker setup, you're going to win by staying alive, and that's the only way.
Yeah, that is true. Now, a completely different way of flying this. Blue's just poked me, calling it kind of a rush comp here. Blue, what do you mean by that?
I think every tournament team in the history of tournaments has always known about Mimitel Rush, where you just get a bunch of hypermobile, high damage, close range ships, press approach, micro warp drive, and shoot the same target, and hope it dies before you do. And what V0LTA have here could potentially be that with the Sleipnir, the Vaga, the Eagle, very tanky, very fast ships. can get on top of the same target and kill it very quickly. So it's another option that they do kind of have with these kind of ships. I think Spooky have a lot of things to think about. Actually, they've got to consider, what ranges are these guys going to be mainly playing at, fit accordingly. Are they going to sit back and try and kill drones, which is also a completely viable way of playing, because the Ishtar can run out of drones, the Worm can run out of drones, and then you've basically neutered 2 of the 5 ships on the enemy team. So there's a lot of things to think about as Spooky and as V0LTA here.
All right, so Twitch has us at a dead heat again. Blue, would you like to cast your lot on to which team you think was going to win? I know we've had a lot of success doing this.
Yeah,
try to keep it up.
I'm 1 and 3, but I'm not going to vote against Cuffy this time, so I'm going with Cuffy in
All right.
Spooky action here.
And then Amelia, what do you think? You have some different archetypes, but what side are you going with here?
I'm going for red team. Sorry, assuming they tinker. If they're not, I'm going blue team.
All right, fair. I'll give you like a weird if-then bet. Hoodie, who do you got?
I think I'm going to go with Spooky here. I think they played really well last match, and if they keep this up, they're going to win this one as well.
Nice. And then if you land on grid, I'm going to put you on VOLTA's side. What are you primarying here, Hoodie?
On VOLTA's side, it kind of depends on whether they're long range or short range. Assuming they're rush, I think you want to get to this Typhoon Fleet issue as soon as you can. This is the main source of damage, and I think you want to avoid it, avoid like all other ships at all cost, and get it down as soon as you can. They might not be able to. They're screening, and they might be forced to shoot something else.
Now, Blue, Spooky, obviously, if it's a rush team against them, they have to screen and kind of kill, but what is their plan going in?
It depends if my Typhoon is rapid, heavy, cruise, or torp, or whatever else, but I think what worked last time will work again. Send my Ishtar and my Worm drones on the Purifier, have my Typhoon Fleet issue, probably shoot the Moa here. It seems to be like the least tanky to ship. I don't really want to bother with the Sleipnir, the Eagle, or the Vagabond at the start at least. Get my Devoted to hold one of them back and see if we can win it out like that. If I have some weird cheese things in my mids, which I hope they do, this might all be a completely moot point.
Oof. All right, well, I think that all the teams are here on grid, so I'm going to toss this over to Mizir and Wingnut. Let's see how we do.
All right, g'day there, guys. Welcome to this next match between VOLTA and Spooky Action. And I gotta say, I'm loving where VOLTA have warped all their ships. Do you want to tell us where they are, Miz?
They are right on the beacon, except for the Purifier, which is at maximum range. And for this match, they have been warping from the opposite beacon, so the the Purifier is 100 kilometers away from the Spooky Action team, so the furthest away it can be.
And meanwhile, the entire Spooky Action team did warp in at 50, all in a nice little cluster, and it looks like that Typhoon Fleet appears to be rapid heavy, so there's going to be a lot of DPS.
Yeah, it could be. And as the countdown is ticking down, this match will soon begin.
Yeah, I gotta say, I love seeing all these hacks and cruisers just sitting at 0. Unfortunately, the other team had cowards trained to 5, so they're not going to have a nice brawl, but they're really charging in.
Yeah, I see the VOLTA team charging while the Spooky Action are burning back, trying to pull distance. The Vagabond is coming in really, really fast, and it's an incredible fast ship in the game.
Yep, and the Devoted has scrammed down the Vagabond now, so he's going to get stopped. Looks like the Worm is being primary, and the Moa is getting primary, and the Moa's already in hull, he's going to be gone.
Yeah, the Moa's actually melting with those rapid heavies and the drones on top of him.
Yep, and the Purifier is now being hit as well. Obviously, the Worm is going to start ruining his day.
And the Ishtar is taking heavy damage as well, so this is a really bloody match right from the beginning.
Yep, Ishtar is currently holding down the Sleipnir. That's a dangerous thing to do for any hack.
Yeah, he's trying to pull range, but it's not something you can do against 3 other hacks. It's really difficult.
Yeah, exactly. Just keep your transversal up and pray those 45s don't hit you.
But I think he popped his ADC.
Yeah, maybe.
But Ishtar is definitely taking heavy damage, and they're trying to apply damage back to the Vagabond that is maybe also use his ADC. And the Purifier just went down, so this is 2 ships down on the VOLTA team already.
Yep, and that Ishtar's about to go down, I think. His reps are starting to run out.
So the Typhoon Fleet issue boundary.
Oh, wow.
This is a massive loss, and it's even Cuff Dog. Maybe it's the Australian internet. Who knows?
Yeah, but the Vagabond died as well. I think that might be already too late.
Yeah, so we have the Majors and the Devoter versus Eagle and a Sleipnir. This is actually looking quite even.
Actually, I forgot. Yeah, they haven't got any DPS anymore. Never mind. Sleipnir and Eagle's gonna have this one, I think. Oh, Cuff Dog with the boundary though. That is not good.
Not at all. They could have had it if he was still alive. But now,
Oh,
the Eagle actually taking a lot of damage while the Devoter and Mages is tanking decently, so they may actually still have a chance.
I don't think Cuff Dog's paying attention to local because he's not hearing the message. TikTok now going into Hull in his Eagle.
Yeah, it looks like the Typhoon is actually still shooting, even though he is supposed to warp off when boundary. So it actually may disqualify Spooky Action in this match.
Don't know if it'll matter too much for them, of course, because without that tier 5, they have exactly 0 DPS between the Magus and the Devoter. So, I mean, it's not really going to matter too much, but yeah, there you go. The Typhoon Fleet is now warping off.
Yeah,
That
but
is
he
a
may
shame.
have been doing a lot of DPS to the Eagle, shifting
Yeah, he
the
did.
balance a bit.
He absolutely did, for sure. But I mean, what damage do they really have to hurt that Eagle? Like a bunch of light drones? That's really going to hurt. I think at this point it's not going to matter. That Devoter's going to go down. The Magus is going to go down.
Yeah, so you have the Eagle and the Sleipnir right on top of the Devoter. That's not something you want to do when you're facing a rush comp, having them all on top of you.
Yeah, that's a brown pants moment for sure. There's nothing you can really do about it.
And once the Devoter goes down, it's all the Mages left, and it can't really do that much damage. They can just kill the drones, and then the Mages can do absolutely nothing.
Yeah, and I'm kind of looking at that. I'm hoping maybe the Magus can kill the Eagle, but I don't think there's actually any universe where that's going to work. I think the Eagle's even reloading its XLASP at the moment.
Yeah, he did have some time to reload it. He's slowly taking damage there. So he may still be reloading, but what is done, he can just rev up again.
Exactly. I'm pretty sure he's got the resist plus the buffer to make it work. Does make it look a bit more scary for him than it might be. As the Devoter's now going into
Yes,
Hull.
definitely. But even if the Eagle goes down, then there's a Sleipnir to finish off the Devoter. But the Devoter just went down.
Yeah, just give
So
him
this
a
looks
free
like
kill.
a victory for the V0LTA team.
Absolutely. And it looks like Cuff Dog will be added to the Boundary Hall of Fame.
Yeah, well, he would join people like Casper, who's quite fond of going out there.
I think Casper's just going to his homeland, that's all.
And we can see the Mages is burning away and not really know what he's trying to achieve. Maybe trying to reach the Hall of Fame in the other end of the arena.
Maybe he's trying to like outrun the drones. It's not going to work, buddy. They're lights.
Yeah, he's slowly chipping away his health, but eventually the match will end and it will still be a loss.
Yeah, you just can't outrun the drones, buddy. I'm sorry, we just got boost from him, which is kind of funny.
And
Well,
the
hey.
other Mages went down, so we have the Sleipnir and the Eagle remaining on the V0LTA team, giving them the victory.
And with that, we'll have a few ads and we'll head back to the booth.